Remember when every American family knew someone serving in the military? In 1968, draft letters arrived at households across the nation, rich, poor, and everyone in between. Today, less than 1% of Americans serve, and most citizens can't name a single person in uniform. But that's not even the most shocking change. Wait until you hear how this transformed American society. It was March 1968. Across America, young men watched their mailboxes with dread and anticipation. The letter from Selective Service could arrive any day. Greetings, it would begin, followed by orders to report for induction into the United States Army. The draft was universal, at least in theory. Every male registered at 18. College deferments existed, but graduation meant vulnerability. The banker's son and the mechanic's son could receive letters the same week. They'd report to the same induction center, take the same physical, board the same bus to basic training. The war in Vietnam demanded bodies. 500,000 Americans deployed. Draft calls reached 40,000 monthly. No family was untouched, if not a son, then a nephew, cousin, neighbor, classmate. The entire nation felt the weight of war because anyone could be called. 2 years of service, that was the deal. Then, return to life, use the GI Bill for college, build a future. But here's what made the draft a shared American experience. Draft boards were local. Community members decided who went and who stayed. They knew the families, understood hardships, made human decisions within federal guidelines. The system had flaws. College deferments favored the wealthy, connections mattered, some fled to Canada. But overall, military service cut across class lines. Harvard students and high school dropouts trained together at Fort Benning. Factory workers' sons commanded executive sons. The mixing was imperfect but real. In barracks, backgrounds meant nothing. Everyone was equally miserable in basic training, equally scared in combat, equally homesick. This shared experience created understanding across economic divides. The draft forced America to care about its wars. Every family with draft-age sons paid attention to Vietnam policy. Protests filled streets not from ideology alone, but from personal stakes. Mothers formed organizations, students demonstrated, even supporters questioned costs when their children faced combat. The numbers tell the story of shared sacrifice. By 1968, every American knew someone who'd served, was serving, or might serve. 2 million Americans passed through Vietnam over the war's course. Millions more served elsewhere during the draft era. The burden wasn't evenly distributed. Working class and minority communities bore disproportionate casualties. But the possibility of service was universal. Even wealthy families couldn't completely escape. Some pulled strings for safer assignments, but the draft notice could still arrive. Small towns held send-off ceremonies for their boys. Entire communities tracked who was where. Jimmy in Da Nang, Bobby at Fort Dix, Tommy just got orders. Yellow ribbons and blue star flags marked military families. Everyone understood deployment schedules, R&R rotations, DARO's dates. Military acronyms entered everyday vocabulary. The war was inescapable because it touched everyone. Then came the transformation that changed everything. Fast forward to 2024. The all-volunteer force has served for 50 years. No draft, no universal service, no shared sacrifice. The military became a career choice, not a citizen's duty. Recruiters focus on specific communities, rural areas, inner cities, military families, places where economic opportunities are limited, where military service offers escape. The promise isn't just patriotic duty anymore. It's job training, college money, health care, steady paychecks. For many recruits, it's the only path to middle-class life. The wealthy don't serve, period. Find a senator's child in uniform, nearly impossible. Corporate executives' children attend Ivy League schools, not boot camp. The 1% who fight America's wars come overwhelmingly from the bottom economic tiers. This economic draft is voluntary only technically. When choices are military or minimum wage, how voluntary is that decision? And the consequences of this divide are staggering. Modern wars can last decades because most Americans feel no impact. Afghanistan went 20 years, Iraq nearly 9. Most citizens couldn't find these countries on maps, much less name someone serving there. No draft means no widespread protests. No shared sacrifice means no political pressure. Wars become background noise, mentioned briefly between weather and sports. Repeated deployments destroy military families while civilian families remain untouched. The same soldiers deploy 4, 5, 6 times. 2 years became 20. Weekend warriors became decade-long warriors. The strain breaks people. Suicide rates, divorce rates, PTSD rates, all astronomical. But it's invisible to the 99% who never serve. They thank veterans for their service at airports, then forget they exist. No yellow ribbons, no blue stars, no community tracking deployments. The class divide has become a chasm. In 1968, military service was a common experience binding Americans together. Rich and poor had war stories, understood military life, shared reference points. Today, military and civilian worlds barely intersect. Veterans struggle to translate their experiences to civilians who have no context. Civilians struggle to understand veterans whose lives seem foreign. Employers don't understand military skills. Universities don't understand veteran students. The shared language is gone. Military families cluster around bases, creating separate societies. Multiple generations serve while other families haven't seen uniforms since World War II. It's hereditary service, military dynasties carrying the burden for everyone else. This isn't healthy for democracy. When less than 1% fight the wars, the other 99% feel no cost. The financial reality tells another story. The all-volunteer force costs more, but delivers less shared burden. Military pay and benefits had to increase dramatically to attract volunteers. A private in 1968 earned $90 monthly. Today's private earns $2,000 plus housing, healthcare, education benefits. The total compensation package rivals many civilian jobs. It has to, or nobody would volunteer. But here's the catch. Paying soldiers more doesn't create citizen investment. In 1968, middle-class families opposed wasteful military spending because their sons might die from it. Today, defense contractors profit while average Americans see no connection to their lives. Wars can be funded through debt, fought by volunteers, forgotten by voters. No draft means no accountability. Politicians start wars knowing their constituents won't feel direct impact. And society's relationship with its military has fundamentally changed. The 1968 draftee was a citizen temporarily in uniform. The 2025 volunteer is a professional warrior, separate from civilian society. This professionalization created the world's most capable military, but also the most isolated. Veterans return to communities that didn't notice they left. Their service is appreciated abstractly, but not understood concretely. "Thank you for your service" replaced real connection. It's a phrase that ends conversations rather than starting them. The draft forced integration. Bankers' sons returned to banking with military experience. Teachers, lawyers, doctors, all had served. This created understanding across society. Today's volunteer veterans often stay in military-friendly careers or struggle to integrate into civilian professions. The cultural gap widens each generation. So which system better serves democracy? Neither system was perfect. The draft had massive inequities. The wealthy found ways out, the poor died disproportionately. It disrupted lives, forced unwilling service, created resentment. But it also created shared stakes in America's wars. Every family had skin in the game. The all-volunteer force is more professional, more capable, more fair in some ways. Nobody's forced to serve. Those who volunteer choose their path. But it's created a warrior class separate from society. It enables endless wars because most Americans feel no cost. The burden falls on the same families repeatedly, while others remain untouched for generations. Here's what we've really lost without the draft. We've lost shared sacrifice. In 1968, serving your country was a common expectation. Today, it's an unusual choice. We've lost accountability. Wars required public support when everyone's children might go. Now they continue through public indifference. We've lost understanding. Civilians and military speak different languages, live different lives, can't bridge the gap. We've lost democratic participation in matters of war and peace. When the middle class doesn't serve, their political representatives don't feel pressure to end conflicts. We've lost social cohesion. Military service was a mixing bowl. Different classes, races, regions served together. Now, certain communities serve while others don't even consider it. Most troublingly, we've lost the citizen-soldier ideal. The draft assumed soldiers were citizens first, temporarily in uniform. The all-volunteer force creates professional warriors, perpetually separate from civilian society. Can America function with such division? Some propose solutions: mandatory national service, not necessarily military. Everyone gives 2 years. Military, teaching, conservation, healthcare. Share the burden differently, but still share it. Others suggest economic incentives to diversify who serves, make military service attractive to middle and upper classes through unique benefits. But these proposals face resistance. Americans value individual choice over collective obligation. The draft ended because people hated it. Bringing back any form of mandatory service seems politically impossible, yet the current system is unsustainable. The same families bearing repeated deployments, the same communities sending their children to war, the same 99% disconnected from the costs of empire. Something must change. But what? The real question facing America. Can democracy survive when less than 1% fight its wars? When military service becomes hereditary? When most citizens have no personal stake in foreign policy? History suggests not. Democracies require shared sacrifice to function. When elites escape service while working classes die, legitimacy erodes. The all-volunteer force was supposed to be more fair than the draft. In some ways it is. In other ways, it's created deeper inequities, not just in who serves, but in who cares. The draft letter of 1968 terrified families, but also unified them. Everyone understood the stakes. Today's recruitment advertisements promise college money and job skills to the desperate, while the comfortable remain untouched. We traded shared sacrifice for professional competence. We gained the world's best military, but lost the citizen soldier. We ended forced service, but created economic conscription. We stopped protests, but enabled endless wars. Whether America can rebuild shared stakes in its military without a draft remains the question. But one thing is certain: when less than 1% serve, democracy itself is at risk. Because republics require citizens who understand the costs of war, and America has raised generations who never will.